Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another League of Legends video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another League of Legends guide on Leona. But before I get into this guide, I need to tell you guys that I've not been uploading for the same exact reason that I've told you guys a few videos ago. But don't worry about that, that still will be fixed in the future. I've just been a bit slow on uploads, trying to make time for it, and it's gonna get out there, so don't worry about it. So anyways, we'll go straight to the guide. Let's just stop about me rambling, and we'll go straight into Leona. We'll be looking more at the support build, but we'll also go a bit in depth when you play her in top lane as well. So Leona is a support champion that can stun a lot of people. She packs a lot of CC within her kit and is really good for team fights. She can stun multiple targets and she can utilize her entire kit to stun someone for nearly up to like 5 to 7 seconds. It's really long. She can really get you in a bad position as well. She's very tanky, especially when playing support, and she's not easy to kill. She's very good to roam with, and she's really good to have on your team, especially if the enemy team's like building full AD or something, and that's where they're at a big disadvantage. So anyways, we'll go straight into her abilities, and we'll start with her passive, which is Sunlight. Damaging spells afflict enemies with Sunlight for 1.5 seconds. When allied champions deal damage to those targets, they consume the sunlight to deal additional magic damage. Now this works a bit like a sheen. Whenever you use abilities and your teammate attacks them, they will get more damage done on them and it will be dealt as magic damage. So this is more pretty much like a sheen, like a team working sheen. It kind of works the same way as Font of Life, whereas when you proc Font of Life, you get the healing, but instead in this case, it's damage. Then we'll move over to Leona's Q, which is Shield of Daybreak. Leona uses her shield to perform her next basic attack, dealing bonus magic damage and stunning the target. This is one of her most basic and best probably abilities to use, along with it coming with the auto attack reset, which is why you would use this in a top lane build as well. Then we'll look at Leona's W, which is Eclipse. Leona raises her shield to gain armor and magic resist. When the duration first ends, if there are nearby enemies, she will deal magic damage to them and prolong the duration of the effect. This also grants bonus armor, bonus magic resist for 3 seconds, plus enemies take magic damage after the burst happens of the eclipse. This ability is most likely used before engaging or when you're about to take a lot of damage. This will try to get you to resist a bunch of the damage as well. This is why you would build armor and magic resist, because it will also scale with armor and magic resist. Then we'll look at Leona's E, which is Zenith Blade. Leona projects a solar image of her sword, dealing magic damage to all enemies in a line. When the image fades, the last enemy champion struck will be briefly immobilized and Leona will dash to them. The Zenith Blade also does magic damage, and to the last person that it hits, it will root them for 0.5 seconds. So this is where you need to be careful for rooting people. Sometimes you can root someone that's behind someone that you really don't want to root, but you can also use it to gap close with the ADC. Let's say you use the E to go to the support, but if the ADC is next to them, you can always use your Q to hold them in place for your ADC to engage or your jungler to engage. So it's really nice to use, and it's really good to catch out the backline in a team fight, because a lot of the times your ADC or the enemy ADC will be in the backline, and this is good for catching them out and CCing them. Bear in mind, Leona throws herself forward to the champion as well. That's why it's really good, because then you can stack your Q on top and then your ultimate at top, or you could do it the other way around. I think the other way around is better. Then we'll look at Leona's ultimate, which is Solar Flare. Leona calls down a beam of solar energy, dealing magic damage to enemies in an area. Enemies in the center of the area are stunned, while enemies on the outside are slowed. Afterward, Leona's sword is charged with power of the sun and deals bonus magic damage for a few attacks. The ultimate beam will do magic damage and will slow enemies by 80%. And the fact that her sword gets charged for the end of the ultimate, that's really good for a top lane build as well, so you can keep going and attacking. And it's also good for your Q as well, because once you strike your ultimate, you can auto attack Q auto attack, because your Q ability is a auto attack reset ability. Well, there you go. That's how Leona packs a lot of punch with CC. She has CC within her Q, E, and R. Her W is used for resistance, and pretty much you just build her very tanky, and it helps you to just engage without taking barely any damage. So now we'll look at Leona's runes, starting with her support rune build. You go Aftershock, Demolish, Bone Plating, Overgrowth, and then for inspiration, you go Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight, and then for your mini runes, you go the CDR runes, Adaptive Force, and Defense. Now, why wouldn't you go Aftershock on Leona? With all the CC she has, and she can already burst it, and remember, her W does scale with armor and magic resist, so imagine using your W while Aftershock is proccing. And then you got Demolish, because you really want to take down the enemy tower as soon as you can, because you'll be driving them out of lane, and then you want to try getting as much damage as you can. Otherwise, you can take the Font of Life option. Then you go Bone Plating, because you're gonna have a lot of aggressive enemy supports doing so much damage. Let's say, for example, Zyra support, Annie support, all these AP supports, they will be doing so much damage. But I do advise you not to play Leona all the time into those kind of champions, but you still can fight those champions and somewhat make it out alive. It just depends how the gameplay goes. Then you go Overgrowth, because you want to get as much health as you can. That's the same reason why on the mini runes, you go the health one. And then Biscuit Delivery, helping you keep up that mana and health. Cosmic Insight for the only reason, you know, for CDR. You want CDR across your entire kit. You get 5%. And then you get 10% from the CDR mini runes, along with the 10 plus adaptive force, which is good for just doing bits of damage to start off. You want a bit of damage exactly in the start as well, because Leona actually kind of does a bit of damage in the beginning as well. And then my personal preference top build, this is something you don't have to go, by the way. Normally on top I would go Resolve, but I've tried this as well. This is a really aggressive top build. You go Press the Attack, Triumph, Legend, Alacrity, and Last Stand, along with Demolish and Bone Plating. And then I take the attack speed mini rune, adaptive force, and health. And the reason I go attack speed with Alacrity and the mini rune is because I want to get my auto attack reset as fast as I can, because Leona can proc Press the Attack so fast. All she has to do is auto attack, Q auto attack, and then she'll proc it after attacking further, and it will do so much damage. But I also advise building something like a Tiamat or something, because that will be a lot better for her farming as well. But remember, you don't have to do this. This is something I did by personal preference. You can always go Resolve on top lane as well. That's something I do all the time, but this is just a hyper aggressive one. But obviously, to get the full proc of Press the Attack, you're gonna need a Titanic Hydra as well, so you get the auto attack reset from that item. So you'll do auto attack, Q auto attack, then Titanic proc, then you'll get your Press the Attack fully procced, and that will deal so much damage. So now we're gonna move over to the builds for Leona. So when you're starting, of course, you want to go Relic Shield all the way, especially when you're playing support. Of course, you always want to go Relic Shield, because you want to get that healing to your ADC, and she's a melee champion. She's good for killing minions, and you want to mostly get the cannon minions as well. Then you want to get your Targon's Brace as soon as you can, along with Aegis of the Legion, so you can build your Locket of Iron Solari. You want to go Boots, and as soon as you can go Boots of Mobility as well. These are good for roaming and moving around on the lane really quick, which makes for mid lane ganks and whenever if you can really roam top. But you want to do it most likely when you've outpushed your enemy, or when your ADC backs and you're still healthy enough to do it. And then anytime you can, buy a control ward. So you can get any of the boots from resistances like Ninja Tabby and Mercury Treads, because sometimes the enemy support or just the enemy bot lane could be really strong in forms of AD or AP. And to be honest, Frozen Heart is probably one of my favorite options for going Leona support, or when I'm just going Leona in general, for the fact that it gives 20% CDR along with all the mana as well and the armor. Knight's Vow is a super good item to buy really early into the game, so you can bind it onto your ADC. Randuin's Omen is good for slowing down your enemies, along with Gargle Stoneplate being amazing for team fights. Righteous Glory can be an option, helping you approach enemies faster, but it's not something I would always go. You could always go Redemption or Mikhail's Crucible as well for removing CC or healing your allied champion. Zeke's Convergence is super good when playing Leona, applying that burn damage for your ADC. Shurelia's Reverie is super good as well for getting your entire team to gap close on your enemy, getting ready for a team fight. Thornmail is pretty much explanatory in case enemies have masses of healing, so you can get Thornmail to get the grievous wounds infliction on them, and so enemies can hurt themselves as well. And then for the example build, this is what a build would essentially look like when you're finished or within the game, or whenever you're at full build. And for your summoner spells, you can go Flash and Exhaust, but my most personal favorite is Flash and Ignite. A lot of Leonas go Flash and Ignite only because after CCing an enemy with her E ability, and you know you're gonna kill them, dropping Ignite on them actually is really good, because you can put your Q on top of them and maybe your ult as well, depending on what level you are. But when you're under level 6, you can get your E on them when having your W up as well, putting Ignite on top of them, and then using your Q, because then they can't flash away. They're gonna take so much damage from you and your ADC to the point that they'll probably die, or they'll just burn all their summoner spells, which is why I go Ignite, and I think all of you should go Ignite. But Exhaust is always an option as well. It's just Ignite is a good early aggressive option. So now that I've explained pretty much everything about Leona, I'm gonna move you over to some combos of Leona, showing you what kind of cool things you can do with her, and to show you in what situation you can utilize it in. So here are the combos for Leona.
Evil shall be burned away. I am but one light in an endless abyss. Clarify thy mortality. I will end thee.
So now that we're gone over the combos with Leona, I'm gonna explain to you what kind of things, what kind of key points you want to do with Leona before ending off this video. So when you're playing in bot lane, you want to try your best to get level 2 first, because Leona's all-in on level 2 is actually pretty freaking amazing. The only reason is because those two abilities are the CC abilities. And before doing that, you want to unlock your Q first when starting the game. And for the maxing skill order, you want to max your W first, then your E, then your Q ability, and get ultimate as many times as you can. One thing to bear in mind is once she engages within a fight, she's not gonna escape it pretty easy, because she doesn't really have any escape abilities. All her abilities are used for CC and all-inning an enemy champion. So you want to be careful as well when you're about to all-in. You want to have some sight around the map, and you want to make sure you're not about to jump into a cluster of 5 people all on your own. Whenever your E is on cooldown, you're likely to be punished only because that's your only engaging ability unless you had flash. So enemies will take advantage of that, and this is something for people that are playing against the Leona. Whenever her E is down, that is all your chance you can get to abuse the hell out of Leona. So that's where all the poke comes in, where the brand Qs and everyone and Zyra, you know, all these AP support champions. This is where they go all crazy. Your W is really good only because it reduces a ton of damage and it lasts for 3 seconds, but it extends to 6 seconds if she damages someone. And remember that her abilities do mark enemy champions as well, so your allies can do extra damage to them. So it works pretty much like a Sheen, like I told you in the beginning. And remember, her E always dashes to the very last target that it hits to. And once Leona unlocks level 6, this is where her spike of CC comes in. She can stun pretty much multiple champions within the center of the ultimate. Anyone around it is slowed, so you gotta be careful of that. The only way you can dodge that or help your ADC is building a Mikhail's Crucible, because that stun does last for a while, especially when Leona's about to press E and then use her Q ability to keep the stun lock. By the time that happens, everybody's jumped onto the ADC and then the rest of the team has backed off, meaning you've lost your ADC and then there's just 4v5. You gotta be careful about these things with Leona, and especially when fighting against Leona. She's a really good support champion and she can be very dominant, especially in the late game. She's good for picking off champions as well, and I think she makes for a really good support. I'm actually glad that I'm playing the support as well, and I think her playstyle and build is similar to Shen's support build as well. This is why I've kind of adapted to it, and I think I really enjoyed it. But the only difference with Shen is the fact that he has escapes, along with having to use that same ability to engage. But all in all, Leona is a really fun champion, and I think you guys should really play this champion. If you guys want anything to know about Leona, you can go put that in the comment section below, and I will get you guys informed and everything, because I've been doing that a lot within my guide videos. I've been helping a bunch of people. I've had some people actually help me as well, helping me with extra information to put on the guides, and I think you guys should do that as well. If you guys have any suggestions, put them in the comment section below. So anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Peace guys, and see ya.